What's up, millionaires? It's your boy Millionaire E coming at you with a TV show episode review. Now, the TV show we're going to be talking about is Flash, episode 15, season 7. Now, before we get started, spoiler alert for anybody who's not seen the series nor the episode. I don't want to spoil it for you. You got to watch it yourself, y'all. Now, before we get started, I'm going to be kind of splitting this into kind of 3 parts. So the first part we're going to talk about is Iris's pregnancy. Or supposed pregnancy. So, in this episode, the 2 people who find out that Iris is supposedly pregnant is Chester and Cecile. And Cecile, she's got them brain powers. She's like, pew. So she can read people's minds and stuff. And then you got Chester. Chester walked up on Flash like, hey, what's up, Iris? Are you okay? We're going to make sure the child's okay. And Chester, which is ironic since Chester was the one who saw them doing the you-know-what in the storage room in the last episode. I don't think it was the last. It was the episode, a long episode ago. So the only problem with this is it kind of diminishes Flash as a character, or Barry Allen as a character. And the reason why is because he ends up almost kind of acting like super paranoid for the protection of his teammates. And I'm like, bro, you got people who they carry their weight. Like, you got Killer Frost in here. He was super paranoid and kind of worried. He was like a worry wart. And I was like, that was cool that she was supposedly pregnant. And the reason why I say supposedly is because at the end of the episode, she ended up not being pregnant. But I'm like, it kind of changed him as a character. And that's kind of, I was just like, Anytime that Barry seems like super different from what he was really is supposed to be, I kind of like, I don't know about it. So, the second thing we're going to be talking about is these doggone Godspeeds. And the reason why is because in this episode we see Godspeed, or 6 of Godspeeds. And Godspeed has been a character who has been like, hey, look, it's Godspeed in different seasons of the episode, but in this episode he finally got his, showing. And my confusion is, okay, why are there 6? I know there were clones, but I'm like, can you give me a little bit of remembrance or kind of like, like a backstory? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I come in here, it's been so long, COVID's come in here, I'm like, who the heck is this dude in his white suit running around with like 6 of himself? And the confusing thing is, I'm like, I know speedsters can create duplicates of themselves by like moving at a faster rate, but with these Godspeeds seem like each one could think for themselves. Because there was one part in this episode where they had put a force field. Well, Flash had put a force field over Star Labs. They started shooting these beams at the door. Then, they started punching the door. Then one of the Godspeeds was like, you know what? Let's start screaming at the door. And then all the other Godspeeds was like, yeah, that's good. Let's do that too. So they started doing that. So I'm like, it's not a hive mind. I mean, it's like different minds. And like I said, who the heck is this dude? How did he have 6? You're not telling us this. Come on, give me some stuff. And then the third thing is, also in this episode, we had Kramer and Joe. And Kramer is government lady, which I don't like her. But now I'm starting to be like, okay, she's fine. Because she's more nicer. And he was researching on a metahuman who had killed her crew. And the metahuman who had killed her crew was her brother, but not blood. They were brother and sister, but not blood. So he's like searching for it, and they're basically at a stakeout in front of his house. Long story short, basically what happens is the car blows up. And I'm like, look, if Joe is dead, I'm not watching this series anymore. And so the last thing about it is which had me confused. And even Barry himself was like, what the hell? Pardon my French. I was like, yeah, what the... Because I'm like, I don't know what in the world's happening. So the Godspeeds, I said there are 6 of them. Remember, 6 of the Godspeeds. They were all ganging up on Barry. Just bam, 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 beating him up. And then 6 more of the Godspeeds appeared. And you would think, oh, wow, he's bringing reinforcements to beat up Barry some more. No! These Godspeeds were like, hey, what are you doing? And started fighting the other Godspeeds who were taking Flash out. Then proceeded to have a fight and forgot about Barry like he was some forgotten toy or something. And then they started fighting and it was just like, Flash. Bam. And I'm like, what the heck? What happened? So I'm like, that's the end of the episode. And also, I forgot to tell you, while this is happening, you've got Allegra, Caitlin, Cecile, and Caitlin is working on her Allegra's cousin Esperanza, who went through an accident or was abused and lost her voice. So you've got Caitlin who's working on that while this happened. So, like I said, long story short, they're all like, okay, we're fine, this and that. And I'm just like, to be honest, I'm kind of like, you know when you're trying to watch a show, or you've watched the show so long, and then now you're almost like, I think it's time to change the channel. Like, it's gotten so random that you're honestly like, this ain't the show I started watching. Lord knows 2000 when. And I'm like, that's how I feel with Flash. I'm like, an example would be almost like Legends of Tomorrow. I watched only a little bit of it. And to give you like the theme of Legends of Tomorrow, from what I think, is time travel. That's what the theme is. And when I see these commercials, I'm sitting here like, what the heck? Because I saw commercials like where they were puppets. Then there was this big, huge stuffed animal, which I don't even know who this is. Then we had a part where I think one of my friends told me that there was a demon unicorn terrorizing people. A demon unicorn. And unicorn. Just think about that. So I'm like, it's just a whole bunch of randomness. And like, Flash is not to that extent of throwing random stuff in there and not explaining it. But I'm like, it's getting into the point where it's like, can you please explain to me who this dude is? How can he do this? And I'm like, they're just skipping over parts. So that's how I'm kind of feeling with Flash right now. But remember, like the video, share it with your fam, subscribe, and if you subscribe, click that bell icon to be notified for more videos. And I'll see y'all later, millionaires. Have a blessed day, and I will see y'all later. And also, in the comments, tell me what you think, because this is my opinion, but I want to hear about your opinion. See y'all later. Bye, y'all.